Hi, thanks for stopping by. Well, I would assume that you have an interest in learn how to play the blues guitar, or you wouldn't have clicked. Well, I have a series of 3 videos that are designed to take you from where you're at currently to being a fairly functional blues guitarist, or at least have a good understanding of how blues concepts are used. The first thing I'd like to do is just say I would expect that you would have at least some familiarity with the instrument, and maybe have some bar chords that you've learned. Maybe have goofed around with some single note concepts, some lead concepts. But you don't have to. It's your system requirements here are not huge. So the first video, called "The Foundation of the Blues," is just as it implies. It's the very beginning of how blues music is structured. And I'm going to teach you the 12-bar blues progression. The 12-bar blues progression is where just about every blues song you've ever heard is based on. You learn that. You learn just about every blues song that there is, because it's a progressive type of music. In the first lesson as well, there's another component called the minor pentatonic scale, which is, it sounds intimidating, but it's not. It's simple. It's just some single notes in a position that I'm going to teach you that is basically where every lick you've ever heard, from Joe Bonamassa to B.B. King to Eric Clapton to Stevie Ray Vaughan, have extracted their licks from. So the minor pentatonic scale, again, is a foundational component, the foundation of the blues. The second video, it's called 4 Essential Blues Licks for the Beginner. Now, these blues licks are foundational in structure, just like the first video. They're easy to learn, and they will give you another tool in your toolbox to actually be a functioning lead blues guitar guy. Okay, now it's going to take some practice, but I think that you'll be able to do it, because these licks are not that hard. Coming to the third video, you can play the blues, and you can at this point and at this level. After taking the first 2 lessons, we're going to sit down with a couple of backing tracks that I've recorded here in the studio that will help you gain a better understanding of where those licks should be placed, and in other words, practical application of the concepts that you learned in the first and second videos. So the series of videos are self-supporting, and they go full circle. It's a foundational system. So anyway, that being said, stick around. We're going to get on to the first lesson, the foundation of the blues, right after this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hi, welcome back to the foundation of the blues. We're going to move along somewhat quickly here. So if you run into any roadblocks as we're moving along, simply hit pause and then go back and start back up again if need be. First of all, I'd like to say that we're going to do this in the key of G. If you're not familiar with that term, which is found in on the 3rd fret, 6th string. So you have E, F, G. Okay? The first chord that we're going to be using in the process of teaching the 12-bar blues progression is going to be G7. And It's right here, and this is what it sounds like. Okay? Get yours sounding just like that. If you need to pause, do it and practice it. The next chord is the C seventh. And instead of it starting on the G, which is, it starts on the C. A, B, C. Okay? C is found on the fifth string on the third fret. And it's played and should sound like this. Okay, you got that one? If you need to pause, same story. The next chord, the third chord and last chord that you'll need in this 12-bar blues progression is D seventh. And that will be found on the fifth fret. We have C, right, is on the third. A, B, C, D is on the fifth fret. So that sounds like this. Okay, and those are essentially the chords that we're going to be using in this lesson. So those chords you need to learn. So learn them. If you need to pause this video now and come back to it later, do so. Here's the 12-bar blues progression, okay? And the 12-bar blues progression is right here. So what you have line 1, line 2, and line 3. Okay? So those lines right there are essentially made up of 4 measures each line, or 4 bars each line. Okay? So you take 4, 4, and 4. 4 times 3 equals 12. So there's your 12-bar blues. That's your 12 bars of music. So that's essentially the building block of every blues song you've ever heard. Okay? So this is interesting, right? I hope so. I hope it's interesting. So we have in each one of those, you see these the lines, right? The kind of like front slash or back slashes, and then there's a 4/4. That means that there are 4 beats per bar, per measure. 4 beats per measure. Okay? And I have annotated in there as well the chords, the C7th, or rather the G7th, C7th, and D7th. And you can see what order and how many beats each one of those chords get. All right? So if we were to count that, right? I'm going to play it for you, okay? If we were to count that out, we're going to count it, and you're going to see how the 12-bar blues progression actually, how it actually works. Okay, so let's start it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Go to the C. 2, 3, 4. Back to the G. Go to the D now. Back to the C. Back to the G. Ends on the D. Okay? So that's your 12-bar blues. And then that just repeats and continues to repeat. and that's where all of the leads are played over the top of that. All of the vocals and the lyrics are sung over the top of that. And that's essentially the blues. So, in this lesson, you learned so far uh, how to play the chords. You learned the 12 bar blues progression. Okay, and those two elements in themselves is a great leap forward, hopefully, from where you were at. But you practice those, and you'll find out that a whole new world is going to open up for you. Now, I promise the next part of this lesson is going to cover some lead stuff, okay? So, I want to teach you now the minor pentatonic scale. Now, the minor pentatonic scale is where all of the lead work that you hear from Stevie Ray Vaughan and Joe Bonamassa and Eric Clapton and all the greats. This is where all of their licks are manifested from. Okay, they work them all out from the minor pentatonic scale, and I'm going to show you the first position of the minor pentatonic scale. And you need to practice this and get it down so it's second nature, and you become a minor pentatonic scale ninja. Right? So let's take it from there. Here's the minor pentatonic scale, and I also have it annotated right up here for you. So use these reference materials. Pause if you need to, and practice. Okay? All right. Here we go. Here's the minor pentatonic. Oops, I guess I should turn up my guitar. Okay? So, yep, I'm human. I get phone calls too. All right, you ready? So here it is going down. Now I would suggest starting with a downstroke and alternating your pick so that you start developing good habits, okay? And that's the best way to do this exercise is don't worry about speed, that'll come. So practice that up and down as many times as needed till you feel comfortable with it. And that's basically lesson number 1. So in the next lesson, we're going to learn some licks that are based off of the minor pentatonic scale. You're going to be amazed by how quickly you're going to move from 0 to 60 once you have that minor pentatonic scale down. It's a simple scale. I would say within a matter of a day or so, you should have that down pretty good. Grab your guitar when you're sitting watching TV and go through that up and down, and pretty soon your mind, your hands, your fingers are it's just going to come naturally to you. So make sure you practice and go on to lesson number 2 when you feel comfortable.